Hey everybody, here's Jeff one more time, Economic Prepper, trying to race the storm that's over my shoulder before I head on out of here and try to head for drier locations. Those of you who don't know, I'm in Arizona now. It's monsoon season, which I'm learning about. Basically, that's what they call afternoon thunderstorm season. If you've been to Orlando or parts of Florida, or Atlanta, afternoon thunderstorms are a regular thing when it gets really hot, humid, storms develop, and all of a sudden you got a thunderstorm in the afternoon. That's what's rolling in on me here on a Sunday afternoon as I cut a bunch of videos. The next one I'm going to talk about, and by the way, thank you for stopping by and checking this out, checking out the content. Please like, share, subscribe. Help me to grow this channel, get my voice out there a little more. I'm really working on that again. But I want to share this next story. Again, it's from Zero Hedge. Minimum wage increase takes toll on California's fast food restaurants, survey finds. This isn't a surprise to anyone. I mean, this is like I've heard Economic Ninja talk about this. I've heard lots of people talk about this, but California, Governor Newsom raised the minimum wage. I think it was to $20. So two-thirds of here's the story. 2/3 of California fast food restaurant operators who responded to an online survey believe that their costs will increase at least $100,000 annually per location, according to the report on July 19th. Approximately 26% of respondents said that right there we go. Even before the $20 wage went, that's the minimum wage now for fast food workers. Right? Even before that went into effect, fast food restaurants made it clear they would not be able to survive. Now, after just a few months, the policy has been a disaster, killing jobs and shutting restaurants. Ms. Paxton, who happens to be Rebecca Paxton, is a research director for the Institute. I don't know what institute, doesn't matter. Nothing against Ms. Paxton, but it's not important to the story. She stated that officials should be listening to small business owners and their employees instead of trying to sugarcoat the truth. This is basic economics, and people that don't realize it, it's supply and demand. It is literally like as you add costs to something, the prices will go up. This is why I just saw another story. Don't have this one. If I find it, I'll put it in the link. I think Johnny Bravo, another great channel. I found that through Ninja. Travis does a great job. Really glad to call him a friend. But Johnny Bravo is a good friend of Ninja as well. He was just talking about a lawsuit, I think, or maybe it was a settlement with Denny's where customers got a rate because the item that used to cost $5 on the menu is now $17. So, but this is what happens, right? This is what happens when wages go up, when your costs go up. To operate a business and to make a profit, you must pass along those costs on top, plus your margins, so that you can turn a profit. Otherwise, why would you do it? Why would you go into business if you can't sell? If it costs you $14 to make a meal, you have to sell it for at least $15 to make a profit. $17 is probably just getting by. $3 per meal, plus you have the restaurant business is a general idea, just a general thought. They cost you it's 3/3. Okay, it's the 3/3 rule. 1/3 is your profit, 1/3 is the cost of goods, and 1/3 is the service. That's the personnel, that's the staff, that's to run the operation. So that's kind of generous. I mean, you should be, and in some businesses you're trying to operate at 50% over your costs, and that includes your labor. So if they're running at 33% for their margin for profit, it's still pretty tight. So what that means is for that $17 meal, your cost of running the restaurant, opening the doors, staffing cooking it, getting the food, it probably costs like $11 or $12 to make that meal now. That's just the bottom line. And so there's no way you can sell it for $5, $6 anymore. The probably cost of everything on the plate, including the plate, costs more than $6. So that's just the economy that we live in. And the problem is that, inflation has hit hard in this country in the past several times. Happened in the 70s with, post going off the gold standard, and then getting, into, the gas shortage into the late 70s, early 80s. I remember, I remember the rule about you had to line up in your car. I think it was based on if your plate was odd or even. I grew up in New Jersey, so I remember these stories vaguely, or fuzzy memories of it. Obviously, I wasn't driving yet. But if you remember those kinds of stories, share your stories down below if you remember that gas shortage and what you guys had to deal with back then. Because aside from the global financial crisis of 2008, we haven't had to deal with that too much. But We're getting there. So the point I'm trying to make is that the prices don't go back down to where they were. So if you're hoping that the prices, that the new administration that comes in next year, that they'll get the prices back to where they were 4 or 5 years ago, that ship has probably sailed. I'm sorry, but the wages, you're going to fix the wages. The cost might come down, but you're not going to get back to that $1.87 per gallon of gas anymore. You're not going to get to that $5 a meal anymore. You might get down to 10. You might get down there, which would be lower than where we're at. You may see prices go down. I haven't seen prices go down on anything in last 4 years. I think I saw it once and it shocked me. On one item I saw, just happened to see, I'm like, whoa, that's less? How is that possible? But I think that was, you're going to see it now. You're going to see that between now and December, because it's going to get ugly. And people are, they're going to have to cut their margins to just try to liquidate their stock and just try to sell it and make anything to recuperate their costs. So, but what are your thoughts on the story? I mean, we saw this on you can't raise wages and not pass along that cost. And a lot of what these restaurants are doing now in California and other places, I was just in a restaurant here in Arizona where they still had good staff. But breakfast was still $15 minimum for the meal. But they also had a robot. They had a serving robot where the servers put the food on the robot, and then they told them what table to go, and then the robot drove the food over to the table, and then they took it off there. Just like kind of an assistant, kind of a cart, so they wouldn't have to carry the big tray. I guess it was a smaller restaurant, but what I'm trying to say is like their automation is going to get rid of a lot of staff too. So there's going to be more unemployment. So if you got these higher wages, if you went from $15 to $20 in wages, great, congratulations. But then you have a 20% higher chance of getting fired because the operators have to cut costs and try to make a profit. So a lot said today. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to duck out of this rain. Maybe I'll get one more story in. We'll see. But for now, leave a comment down below. Let me share your thoughts. I read them all. For now, I'm going to leave it there. This is Jeff, the Economic Prepper, signing off. See you in the next video. Take care.